you both.
Hi,
Hello.
good. How are you?
Good. It's so great to meet you. I loved the show so much.
Thank you so much. You look like an angel with this like pink room behind you. Feels very Greece to me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Yes, so this show tackles a lot of themes like identity, grief, and social pressure from a comedic lens, which I loved. And I was curious, what was the key to balancing humor with emotional depth in your performances?
Ooh. I think when it felt honest to go there and do it. And then I think for so many comedians, I do think we kind of lead with like after you say something kind of more personal, you immediately want to tell a joke. And I think that that's probably reflected in the writing of the show too. That after you say something, it's like we end the domino scene with I have to say something about the pink guy, or it's like little things like that that you're like, okay, now I'm going to say this about myself, or even when Carmen is talking to Peter in the fifth one, where you describe yourself as Tatiana Del Rey, you like try to like make a joke of things, and it's like, no, this is like an intimate, like kind of sad, beautiful moment. But yeah, I think allowing them to exist in the same scene, even within a line, was kind of the key.
I think that tone in juggling those two things is one of my favorite parts of the show. And I think it's also just so true to college that those things coexist. And so it really just took being present in the scene, I think.
Yeah, I love hearing that because it just felt very natural too. Because it's like just knowing both of your backgrounds. It's just kind of cool to kind of offset those moments with a little bit of fun. So that's always good. And this show really captures a lot of those awkward college moments. And I was thinking about it, and I was wondering, were there any parts of your own college experiences that you drew from when kind of building on your characters? I know, Wally, you dropped out of college, right?
I did. I think that there was definitely elements of my high school experience that I drew from, and still parts of my college experience, because I never ultimately found, I think part of the reason why I dropped out is I had found comedy already and I never found my community in college, but I still wanted it so bad. So I was able to tap into that desire for intimacy and love from that period of time, I think.
Love that. I feel like I drew from my experience coming out. I drew from my experience, I think, being in these spaces where I felt like I can't believe I'm still in these. I was in these spaces in high school with all these guys, and I would really love to not be in these spaces anymore. I'm starting to get a little tired. And my relationship with women, and the feeling that I feel like these girlfriends I met in college really like changed my life. And maybe in a more important way, as I got older, I realized like maybe it saved my life or woke me up. So that I could actually like live my life in an honest way. But as far as like college specifics, like, I think I pulled from every single thing that was still in my brain, and the golf cart scene actually happened. These big moments like a tailgate or a Halloween weekend, like all those things I think they felt like pillars of this experience to me. And I hoped that they would be for audiences, so that they would immediately be like, oh my God, this is me. That's my experience. Or I'm her, I'm him, like that, I think was important to me, and then to the whole writer's room. Like it was just sharing stories at a certain point. So I think the show in the end is kind of a tapestry of all of these comics coming together and being like, fuck, we did some fuck shit in college. Yeah, and got our hearts broken.
Yeah, there were so many aspects of this show that I resonated with because I graduated college last year. So it's still really fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And I specifically resonated with your characters and their dynamic. And I was curious, how did you build on that dynamic and kind of like both on and off screen? Like, did you spend a lot of time just trying to figure out like what like things you had in common or different things that you bonded over before filming?
I mean, we met in a Zoom before the writer's room. So we had the whole writer's room as well.
Yeah.
And then in person, we met during the chem reads in person. And it's funny, I don't know if we ever like went about it and being like, now's the time to connect. I think it was just like, I felt an immediate draw to Wally, and I loved her so much, and I loved her comedy, and I loved the way that she made me feel comfortable as a writer, as a comedian, and then as an actor. So I mean, it's also, you're spending so much time on set with people. It's like, if we tried to hang out outside of it, it would have been like, well, we were together for 16 hours just now. So like, go to bed. So it was just like kind of immediate bonding. And I feel so lucky it was with her.
Truly. I'm so lucky. I feel like our first writers meeting, I had so much fun pitching or kind of like talking on Carmen, and then our first in-person chemistry reading. I had so much fun reading as Carmen.
I love
that chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. And like I said, this show was really awesome. And I'm so excited for people to see it. And I'm hoping to see more seasons just because we need more. We need more.
Thank you so much. We agree. That'd be great. Please.
Please.
Thank you both so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How are you all today?
Hello.
So good. How are you?
It's so great to meet all of you. Congratulations on this show. It's so good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, Mary Beth, I was really curious about how Grace has such a layered relationship with Benny. And I was curious, how did you portray that sibling dynamic while also working off the friendship that you have with Benny in real life?
Dynamic, like you said, it is very complex, and it's not just about like how they relate to each other as older sister and younger brother. I think the parents have really influenced how they see each other and how they see themselves. So obviously Benny and I are best friends in real life, and we had to play into this dynamic where we kind of were always at odds with each other, and like everything he does pisses me off, which couldn't be further from the reality. So I thought it was actually pretty easy to click into that, just because Benny and I are so close. Like, we're super honest with each other. You know, a gay guy and a bi girl being friends, it's a tale as old as time. But it translated really well, I think, to the sibling dynamic, because like we're used to kind of jabbing each other and teasing and being honest, and it was kind of fun to just be like horrible towards each other. And it was very easy. It felt very comfortable. And then as soon as they hit cut, it was like, oh my God, I was just so mean to you. I'm so sorry. But he wrote such fun lines for me. It didn't just feel like a girl being mean for the sake of being mean. Like, there's so much behind everything she says. And so that just really helped the character feel rooted in truth. And I feel like I've seen those sibling dynamics before, and now we're seeing them on TV, which is so fun.
No, I can definitely defend Grace's attitude because she's got a lot.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, Rish. So your character, he really represents a lot of possibility and comfort, but at the same time, he's also like the opposite of what everyone thinks he is at the end. So, yeah. So I was curious, how did you approach playing someone who draws curiosity without revealing too much, especially since, you know, it's like a subtle thing?
Yeah, if I'm being really genuinely honest with you, I don't think I had a very kind of direct approach on that specifically. I think I just tried to show up for each scene and played the scene. And a lot of them were just being friendly with Benny, and that friendly could be confused for chemistry. And, you know, and that in itself was kind of what they were looking for, I think. And that's what I tried to bring from the jump with the auditions as well. But it's nice. I kind of got to really go one side in the fantasy sequences with it, and really lean into that, and then pull back and pull back and pull back. And the more I pulled back, I was like, oh man, I hope people don't start to feel like Miles has done something wrong here. But I think what's so brilliant is Scott and Benny in the writers' room have given him an arc where you really understand that actually, yes, Benny is pining over Miles, but also Miles is figuring out who he is and where he stands, and you know, he's just really lonely, and I think there's just been a miscommunication, and they need to sit down and talk.
Oh, completely. Yes. And I was thinking a lot about how your characters serve as emotional and social foils for Benny and Carmen in this show. And I was wondering, how did you each approach the nuance in these dynamics? Of course, we can start with you.
See, approaching Gabe with a level of nuance was definitely a challenge. I think it was. Look, it was for me the biggest, you know, thing was just to like really hit the nail on the head when it comes to representing this like wild side of college, and it gives Carmen and Benny and then honestly like everybody that is a member of Yates like essentially like a mirror or like a glimpse into like a world that they can either choose to be a part of or not. And like it's kind of like a finite community where it's like if you are here, you are this one thing. There's not really room for complexity. There's not really room for nuanced lifestyle or living. And I think, you know, with Carmen kind of being faced with the opportunity to join her version of FNG, and then Benny, of course, like wanting so desperately to be a part of the frat, it was really a great tool, and I got to play a part in kind of like helping them understand what that actually means and how that affects the rest of their life and the rest of their relationship with themselves and the people around them. So how's that for nuance?
Really nuanced. I think some of it too comes down to the writing and how committed the whole team was to making the ensemble feel like it had a lot of depth, because you're able to play these characters in different ways and on different levels when they are in completely new situations in every episode. So different levels of status within the scene, different positions and levels of uncomfortability. So I really credit like Benny and Scott, the showrunner, for allowing us to have that space to really play. And like you even notice it, I think, with a character like Gabe, because when he's in those party scenes, it's so big and so loud. And then there's that one scene where you're on the stoop waiting for condom delivery, and you hear it as we're exiting that shot, but Tommaso asks you if you're going to break up with your girlfriend, and he just goes, yeah, I hate her. Like, but he's being honest and like in that moment. And so there are so many things like that where it's like, if you're not paying attention, you will miss it. But I think that's what's so brilliant about it, is when you go back and watch it, you will pick up on these little moments that are so small, but so important.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it was so great meeting all of you. I hope we can speak again really soon. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Alyssa. Good. How are you?
It's so nice to meet you. I loved watching all of you in this show. You were so much fun to watch, and just the perfect additions to the show. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So your characters are all larger than life and in very different ways, of course. And I was curious, what was the most fun or surprising part of stepping into these college archetypes?
We all pass out. We all pass out. No, I'm thinking. I think. Do you guys have your answer?
I have.
You go.
I would say. I mean, I don't know about you, but definitely for you, I feel like this would also be applicable. But like
answering for
being,
me, no,
baby, let me do it. Being cringe is so much fun. It really is. Like, just being so cringe is a treat, and getting to do that has been a great surprise. And I feel like, not to project onto Haley, but both Haley and Emily say some pretty cringe-worthy things. And that is just so much fun.
I thought it was fun to be like, this person is going to say everything with such confidence, even though she doesn't know how she actually feels, because that's what it's like to be that age, I think. And I think lots of times, especially growing up as a girl, it feels like, well, if I'm not the loudest person in the room, no one's going to listen. So even if I don't know what I'm saying, Lord knows I'll be screaming. And so I felt like I was able to do that with Haley in a way that felt really freeing. And I'm also excited for her growth for her too, because I think she'll find some peace somehow. But yeah, and I also love how like insane she was towards her about friendship, because I think that's also a time where like, now I know what codependence is, and I know how I've had toxic friendships where like both of us, like, you didn't text me back today, where at that age there's no rules in friendship, at all. It's like, you better be over every single night. I'm obsessed with you, and there is no love greater than friendship, in my opinion. And so I think that Haley shows it in a pretty scary way, but the heart is there, and that's what matters. I love that. What about you? You forget what you asked.
I dropped out of I dropped out after 2 weeks of college because I absolutely hated it, and I was so anxious and such a mess. So to play the opposite of that in George, and to play someone who's like so grounded and honest and himself, was really surprising in that environment of people who are just actually going crazy trying to figure themselves out. I felt very like planted on the ground and honest and real. So that was fun.
Also, we know that person snaps in 10 years. Like, my people who were the most put together in college, now I'm like worried about them. Like, I have a close friend and he's like, I'm lost. And I'm like, you had it all figured out before us.
Well, also, I think that yes, and you're overcompensating for something. So I think like pretending to have it all figured out is also, you're overcompensating for actually probably not knowing certain parts.
You don't
of
know math or something.
Right, exactly. Right. You can't add, you don't tip. You know what I
You
mean?
don't tip. Yeah, that's
George doesn't tip.
George doesn't.
Sorry.
I mean-
you have a nocturnal exclusive. George doesn't tip.
There you have it. Yeah. No, that's good. At least you get to relive like the college experience that you would have wanted. So I think
Yes.
that's a cool thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be so
Sure.
yourself in college, I was like, wow, I actually need to go back.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Totally.
No, I mean, I graduated college last year, so it's like this is still really fresh in my mind and I'm resonating with so many things. And I really think this show also showcases such a wide range of student identities and, you know, people that you would definitely run into at any college. So I was curious, how do you think your characters help broaden the world of the show and, you know, beyond just Benny and Carmen's perspective, since they kind of bounce off of them?
I think that Haley being, I don't know the PC way to say it, but highly sexual, and also, I think Haley being highly sexual and then also really smart and then also really ditzy, maybe the stereotype of that. I think all of those wrapped into one makes her as complicated as real people are. I think lots of times we get like a stereotype of just like, this person has a ton of makeup on, so she's dumb and only cares about that. And it's like, no, that's one of her many passions that you're going to see her have. And also we see so much of guys being, I feel like, hypersexual in college media that it felt really refreshing to me that it's like, no, she wants to have sex and she's curious about it and it's going to be bad, but she will figure it out.
Totally.
It's just so much more interesting to watch. And Wally and Benny are like the heart of the show. And I think that seeing all of these other characters that still have that aspect to them, but like me, you know, playing someone that on the page was a girl that Wally, you know, knew growing up and was kind of like basic in a way, if you will, seeing that she's kind of a freak at the end of it. And I think they wrote characters who you think maybe a certain way and end up being something totally different. And then that just provides the most funny and incredible show to watch. So yeah, I think that's how I felt about it.
I think you both answered it beautifully. I say ditto to everything they said.
I
Thank
say
you.
ditto.
Ditto.
Yes. Wally and Benny helped us be able to be our crazy selves, I
Yes.
think, because their characters do have,
They're grounded.
they're grounded before us. They are.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, it was so amazing talking to you, and I really hope we can all talk again soon on your upcoming projects. So congratulations on this show, and thank you for your
so
time.
much.
Thank you,
Thank
so,
you
much.
so much.
I
I'm
love
glad
to meet
this
you.
purple light. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, with
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Yes.
sitting with it.